back to Spectrums. Our next guest represents the visual side of hip-hop. Please help us welcome Jay Sterling, also known as Jay Bird of Sterling Image. Hey, welcome to Spectrum. I hunted you down to get you on this show because we decided we were going to do this hip hop show, and I knew that hip hop was a culture, and I know it had to deal with some artistry as well. And I saw a video of you on Facebook, and I saw that, and I was like, we got to get him. So I'm so glad that you were able to come.
Oh, thanks so much. It's awesome.
A lot of people say they've been looking for you.
Yeah, and everybody's like, Jay Bird, I know that dude.
Right. So you have somebody that might want to talk to you after
a few people actually. Yeah.
But a lot of people don't, like I said in the beginning of the show, a lot of people don't think of anything else outside of hip hop besides the music. And you represent the visual side. So what part does art play in hip hop?
Well, the visual aspect is definitely one of the things that made hip hop unique in itself, is that we used to stand out a little bit, visually speaking, whether it was the bandanas or the colors or the multiple layers that we wore, it's a visual statement. And whether it was a cardboard we were breakdancing on, we'd paint that up and make it different, and it was all actually somewhat of a kind of a protest, to say that we could take a little bit of something and turn it into something magnificent. It's going to look cool. We're going to have our own style, and that's why that whole idea of swag or having your own kind of swag. That's old. That's really old school. It all started with the hip hop, with us, breaking on the street and then representing ourselves on our jackets and our clothes and our hats, and kind of keeping the graph art. It was in the streets, but then we'd find other ways to utilize it and make, just trying to make our city pretty. It was grimy.
Right.
So you did tagging on buildings, right?
When I was younger, it was all abandoned stuff, and I did, a bridge abutments or something like that. About where I would think that not too many people would see it, and sure enough, they would see it.
They will see it.
So what took you from tagging to actually doing this professionally?
Oh, it was a lot of things actually. Just the need for money, probably.
Right.
I was young enough.
That's number one.
I was young enough that I was like, well, I saw opportunity where instead of just writing on somebody's garage or vandalizing their property, and that's one thing I'd like to say I represent with the hip hop, is that graffiti is definitely a valid art form, not thought of as in the sense of vandalism.
Yeah.
Destroying somebody else's property and territory is definitely out of the question.
Yeah.
But when you have the opportunity to create and put up a message, and you've gotten permission, I say go for it. And that's what made hip hop so excellent. I was like, man, when will these guys ever stop having something to say? These days it's kind of turned into rap more than the whole essence of the culture.
You said a point that kind of stood out to me. Not to dwell on the whole graffiti art thing, which is one other question with that. Is that the mindset of a lot of tag artists, that they are trying to make the city pretty, in a sense of, with the abandoned buildings, let's decorate it.
Putting their tag.
Or trying to
or is it not that? That's more of it. Okay.
It's more about leaving the mark.
Okay.
It's more about saying that here I exist.
Oh, wow.
And you might not exactly, and that's why graffiti art became such an interesting writing form, is that they came up with what we call a wild style to see how complicated we could make you look at the word and
Figure it out, right?
you can figure that out, and then you got to trace back who that might be. Therefore, it might be Shorty Mac or something.
Right.
Train. Right.
So you said hip hop. You don't think hip hop is dead, but you said it's not growing. Why do you think it's not growing?
Who said that? It's definitely has its fruits in it, and the roots and the big parts of the tree are always going to exist. I'm kind of referring to it being petrified. it just has stopped growing. It's still always going to be there. You know, hip hop is what it is. Yeah, so we're kind of seeing it reach its growth, and only way to really keep it going is to kind of stay true to what the thick parts of it, the base of it. You know, what made it really good, which is when it was more closely attached to each other, meaning the whole culture, the dance, the fashion, the art, and then along with that came some maturity, respect, you know, and it often had something to say, and it usually started with the party.
Why do you think that it's not connected anymore? Like, what do you think, like, kind of stopped that connection?
Money.
Greed.
Yeah. So what about artists?
You know, radio guy was just breaking it down, right?
Right.
Britney.
Right. Wow.
But really think about what Britney shops and buys and the places she goes and things she does. But like artists like a Jay-Z who has the clothing line and he has the 40/40 Club. Do you feel like that's tying it in, or that's making money?
Oh no, yeah, he's working
all the
I mean,
elements in.
Once you're there, you can do what you want. You know what I mean? And that's just it. Is I think we all were doing this for the reasons of, you know, kind of self-expression to begin with. But then once it did turn into a career or you know, possible job, it's like, well, that's when, you know, well, okay, you start, you know, I don't want to say selling out, but you have to work, you have to eat, and that's why I went door to door and said, hey, can I put ducks and mallards and pussy willows on your garage door for $150? Or he's got a hot rod in the garage. I'll put that hot rod on their door.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, can you? All right, let's see you do it.
So you did have like an instance where you had like a run-in with the police in where you lived.
Of course.
Kind of, they knew.
Like you said
you
about the
tagging,
1.2 families in Waukesha.
So they knew who to come to when they was tagging.
They came knocking right at my door. Yeah, they did. They're like, hey, it could have only have been you. Like, there's suddenly appears characters all over our park pavilion. Who did that? I don't know. Had to have been you.
But you know what, my sister's friend in Atlanta, I don't know, somebody called, he was doing a tag, and somebody called on him, and the police came like right away, but he was like done. Like he was in the car. They pulled him out. He had a marker and everything, so it was kind of like tied him. Yeah, like a big, you know, like they have art supply.
Oh no, it's very, very serious out there.
Yes, it's very serious.
Children, do not go outside painting anything that you're not supposed to.
Do not.
No, because I got a lot of friends that did some really serious time over paint.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. In jail?
Felonies. Yeah.
Wow.
Felonies,
Kids.
you know.
So speaking of this being something that's serious, you're part of True School, right?
Well, I've done work with True School and various other community centers and any, you know, active children organizations that feature art. You know, I like to be an active artist to help some of those kids to have opportunities to create on maybe a wall, but approved wall.
Wasn't there an incident, because I remember seeing it on the news, where it was approved, and then a particular alderman tried to stop it.
Wow.
I don't get that.
It wasn't that he tried to stop it. He just had something to say over the fact of not really understanding the graffiti methods. But we got over that.
Okay. Because I was wondering whatever happened with that situation, because I remember seeing it on the news, but I didn't see what happened afterwards.
He just came out.
Not in his district. Well, actually, I lived there. It was like on my building, on my landlord's building. We agreed to, you know, be a temporary demonstration wall to, you know, do what we did. But just it being up long enough for the police to drive by and see it, the alderman got a call and just thought that it was too much.
Considered it vandalism. It was actually art.
It was
art, approved art.
Yes, there is a big difference.
Yeah.
So you're gonna come back a little bit later and do some approved art here.
I was gonna say we're gonna start.
Just don't paint on this wall.
Right, it's not here.
Some bass. You're gonna start playing some bass.
Oh yeah, well a little bit later today,
I can do my hip hop dances.
No.
On that note, we'll be right back.